Hey y'all. All right, so let me tell y'all. Sis was on her podcast this morning. I was in the group with Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. And we had a lovely conversation today, hosted by yours truly, led by, because it's hosted by Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits, but led by yours truly. Oh, wait. Skirt. It's your girl Jamaica if you don't know who it is, because y'all know y'all love to come over here to this area and get this tea, but it ain't a whole lot of tea today. But I do want to share with y'all what was happening. But if you don't already know me, please continue to watch this video. Click at the top and subscribe, like this, share it, whatever you want to do. Let's get into it. So today, I was talking about the savior complex. So I don't know if y'all ever heard of the savior complex, but there it goes by a couple different names. So what I usually call it is the Captain Save a Hole complex, okay? But others may call it the savior complex. It go by a couple different names. Let me show y'all. I got my little notes, handy dandy notebook, okay? So it's also goes by the Messiah complex and the Knight syndrome. So there's two pieces to it. So typically, and there's different variations and all this stuff. There's called like the white savior, the white Messiah, the black Messiah. You can Google it, do your own research, eat the meat, trim the fat, whatever you want to say, eat the meat, spit the bone out. Hello. But pretty much what it is about is two parts to it. And this was the discussion that I had earlier today, is that one part is the savior complex, as far as people who are always looking to be saved, people who feel as though they don't want the hand up. They don't want to do any work. They want the hand out. Those individuals who are like, I just want somebody to come save me from where I am, what I have going on. Just take me away from all these things that are no good. And there's so many variations within that, but that is one aspect of it. The other aspect is the savior complex, as far as like an individual who wants to be saved, or excuse me, who wants to save other people. And so in our discussion today, I was telling them, and which I'm telling you, I was initially going to talk about the savior complex as people who always looking to be saved and, X, Y, and Z. But as I was doing more research, diving into it, looking at it to make sure I gave a well-rounded conversation, I was telling them that, like, when I was younger, I used to look at my father as like one of those people who, might have been touched with the Captain Save a Hole concept. But not only that, I learned that I was that person. I was the Captain Save a Hole to the individuals who were in my space, right? I always wanted to help out everyone. I've been trained to help out everyone, to do what I can to assist everyone into being their best self, their greater self, doing the work for people. And I remember a few years ago having a friend who was like, nobody asked you to do anything. You're always volunteering yourself into these positions, and for what? And I think that was one of those moments that dawned on me to help me realize, like, yeah, you need to take a step back. As much as you want to help other people, if the people aren't asking you for your assistance, then they're just having a basic conversation, and you need to be okay with listening to people struggle and listening to people say that they want help or say that they want to make changes in their space and in their life. However, if they don't say, can you help me, or please help me, or do you have assistance, that they want to do it all on their own. So learning to be in your own lane, that was my lesson for me. And I noticed that after I was going through it, I may have still have moments where you struggle with it because you just want to help people. Like, you just want to tell people, hey, try this, right? But you can't. You just gotta let people do what they want to do. Everybody's journey here is different. Everybody's expectations are different. Their life experiences, all these things play a role in what they're here to do. And so as much as you want to help, your helping them can actually hinder them. And so in my conversation today, I just talked about a couple things, and I'm gonna read it off for y'all, because why try to sit here and struggle my brain, wrap my brain around it. So one of the things that I was talking about is that we have some individuals who are kind of ego based, right? They want to help people because it strokes their ego. And some stuff I'm reading, some stuff I have to just kind of internalize, sit with, because this is some of the things that we talked about in the group today. So sometimes we have individuals who are very ego based, right? They help other people because it does something good to them inside. It makes them feel like I was the person who helped you. I was the individual, like, I'm here. I got myself into this position because there's no one else who can do what I do for you. Especially if it's a group of individuals. So, like with Black people, I'm Black, so I can only talk about not only, but primarily talk about the Black experience. Is Native American experience, all of that great stuff. Anyway, but what I can say is, sometimes you're in a situation, maybe in collegiately or maybe as a job, and you're in a place where most white people are your counterparts, and they may be at a point where they're like in disagreement, where they're not trying to look out for adding a other, which could be Black, Spanish, whatever. But you're in a place where if they're turning people down, you can say, hey, I see that you're overly qualified, or I see that you're qualified. I see that you have good work ethic. I made these calls and these arrangements, and people are praising your name. I want you in this position. And because of where I am in this place, I can help you get here. This is what I need you to do. And that may a little bit stroke your ego. And it's okay. What I was saying earlier is that none of this, whether you're more of a savior or you're more of the one who wants to be saved, none of that is really a bad thing. What I was saying is that I want you to be more aware. I want people to be more aware of these things existing, so that when things aren't going the way that they want to, they're not just trying to save people and placing themselves in a position where they're the martyr, and they're no longer living for themselves. They are putting themselves in a place where they're detrimental to themselves, but they can say, okay, I see this happening now. Let me maneuver around. Let me do things that's going to assist me in becoming a better version of myself. And so that was the goal. Not so much to say one is good or bad or indifferent, but to just say, this isn't working for me. Now let me move around because I understand where I am. So one of the other things that are here, let me get all close down. I don't want y'all in my nose though. Sorry, y'all. I know the camera moving, but I got a meeting. So that's why I'm still here at my job. But, such is life. One of the things that I was talking about is that sometimes people find their self-esteem and self-worth wrapped up in what they can do for others, and they crave the ability to be able to help others more than they help themselves. Sometimes you have some people who have an exaggeration of themselves, and they believe that if it's not for them, then other people wouldn't be able to do or achieve. And so those are some of the things to be cognizant of. It can lead into some narcissistic behaviors, or pulling in some people who are narcissistic. But of course, that's just based off of your experience with it. One of the things that leads us to this point, right, or where it comes from, which is the white knight syndrome, which was on, I think I got it off WebMD. They were talking about if you were growing up and you felt like you were lost, you felt abandoned, that could have led to this. If you dealt with a lot of trauma, unrequited love leads to this. Maybe a feeling of defecated behavior, being aware of your parents' hardship when you were growing up as a child, feeling the need to employ yourself in some type of way into your parents' situation in order for them to have some type of ease. There were a few other examples too, but it was basically all emotional and physical suffering that was provided as you trying to put yourself in a caregiver's position. And then also they were saying that it shows up in relationships. So if you're an individual who feels as though maybe you have to perform when you're in a relationship, or you feel as though you are very emotionally vulnerable in a relationship or sensitive, this may be a result of that. you have this idealized belief about your partner that you kind of put them on a pedestal, or maybe you feel as though you don't want them to leave, you don't want the relationship to end. And some people are even manipulative, like it's all about, sorry y'all, the oil is oiling. But sometimes you may be in a situation where you may manipulate the situation. You get them to do what you want because you have this belief that you're helping them to their higher good or better benefit of themselves. And so this is this has to be carefully watched, because is it based off of a fear of loss or leaving them? And so you take all these things in consideration. And so I was also talking about some things that you could do to help yourself. So this is, and what was interesting is that these are some of the things that I had to do for myself, right? One of the things, and I laugh because, like, as a teacher, the kids are usually laughing at me because they're like, Miss, why do you always say this? Or, some of the other students, like kids will go, I'll say, hey, did you do X, Y, and Z? Did you do your homework? No, I didn't have time to do that. I say, hey, I don't need all the excuses. No is enough. No, I didn't do it. Thank you. They be like, but Miss, I had this and da da da. I say, no, I don't need all of that. I don't need your excuses. I understand that feels valid to you, whatever it is, and it's fine. That's fine. You didn't do it. No. So let me put this grade in. It's a 0, and we'll worry about that on the next go round. And so some of the kids, of course, the first semester, they're like, Miss, you're rude. Around the second semester, the kids will be like, hey, that sounds like a personal problem, and that's none of her business. And it's so funny. It's funny. It's really hilarious. But one of the things that you could do is understanding what's your business and what's not your business. That is one of those things that can help you alleviate yourself from others' issues and concerns, and then focusing in on your own. Because what tends to happen is we focus so much on others' concerns that we honestly put ourselves in a detrimental place by missing out on us, because it's always, sorry y'all, because it's always easier for us to definitely focus on getting someone to where we are than for us to go to our next level. One of the other things is about getting support. So you can get support in whatever it is that you need. Because again, when you're trying to work your own way and focus on yourself and go to your next level, when you're worried about yourself and you're trying to worry about getting yourself to your next level, you're very unbothered about what other people have going on, because you're focused on you, which is also how most successful people are. When you're worried about your own success, yes, I do want to help others, don't get me twisted, but I'm not going to help them at the detriment of my own success. You are not more important than myself. And if you're a person who you cringe at that comment, then that should let you know that somewhere deep down you need a little work. You need a little work on yourself, and you need to be okay with allowing yourself to be number one in your life, because a lot of times that comes from our parenting and societal traits and attributes and things that tell us, hey, we need to put people ahead of us. We need to help everyone else type of situations. Another one was, did they ask for help? If a person isn't explicitly asking you for assistance, they're just talking to you and telling you their problems. If you want to listen to their problems, listen. But if they didn't say, hey, I need your help if those weren't words, could you please assist me? Could you help me? Then stop volunteering yourself, because most of the time you're placing yourself in a position where you're about to be the martyr, where you're going to help them and you're going to expect that they're supposed to help you if the roles were reversed, and that doesn't always happen, and it's not their responsibility to take care of you. It's your responsibility to take care of yourself and to know when to say no to other people. And sometimes people really feel as though you're obligated to help them, and you have to be the one to know when it's a no for you. Evaluate whether or not the help that you provide to somebody is going to place you in a place where you are going to be negatively impacted. So me giving you $20 means that I'm going to be short $20 on my rent. I can't do it. or me giving you my last $20 means that I'm gonna not have money, or I'm only gonna have $10 in my pocket, when I know that there's other things. It's just no. It's a no. I'm not going to allow myself to be negatively impacted for your inability to properly plan for yourself. So I'm just gonna keep it nice. That's the nicest way to put it. And then the last one, to help yourself, is just recognizing whether or not you're coming from a place of full heartedness and love when you're assisting people, or if you're coming from a place of fear and guilt. So, and when I say fear and guilt, maybe you're thinking, oh, well, if I don't do this, then they won't love me anymore. They won't care for me. They won't, they'll think X, Y, and Z. If that person, your inability to help them and your ability to say no, if it really affects them that much, then you probably don't need them as a friend or an individual in your space at this current time, because they did not properly plan for themselves, and now their judgment of you, not planning or not being able to assist them, is crazy. And that's putting you in a scarcity mindset, in a scarcity place for not only giving love but accepting love. And that was something else in the conversation too. We were talking about so many things, y'all. We talked about religion, we talked about the ability, sorry y'all, but we were talking about so many different things. We were talking about religion. We talked about the ability to accept different things, like be able to actually receive versus just giving, especially if you're one of those people who are always trying to help others. It was so many different things, and I'm gonna sit down and really think about it and come back and probably do another video on this. But I just wanted to just briefly go over some of the conversation that we had this morning, and I think I hit most of it. But again, I'll be back with y'all. Y'all know I'm coming on here trying to give y'all 100 days of me. Y'all, I can't wait to get my hair done. It was supposed to be today, but excuse me, that was rude. Life happens. I apologize. But anyway, let me get up out of here, y'all. I gotta go hit this meeting real quick so I can go to the house, and then I got other things to do. So I'll see y'all later.